This is the second part of our lesson. The first part we learn the structure, and the second part we have to learn the language of advice. Let's have a look at the structure. If I were you, I would not like to be hurt either, especially when talking about personal matters. The pattern is, if I were you, I would. We use this pattern. This is conditional. Type 2. And we use this pattern to give advice. Then we go to the second pattern. If I were you, I would. This pattern comes from the first pattern. Just very easy. The first pattern is if I were you. If you want to change it to inversion, this pattern, we have a special name for it, which is inversion. So if you want to change if I were you to its inversion, that's easy. You just follow the steps. First of all, you delete if. Then you swap the order between the subject and the verb. Then finally, it will become were I you. This pattern. Then comma, you continue with I would. Okay, so this is structure 2. Okay, then we go to structure 3. Structure 3 is easy. It's just a questions. So you can also use questions to trigger thinking and give advice. For example, have you considered changing the medium of your communication? The advice is changing the medium of your communication. Then we go to structure 4. Structure 4 is the use of can. Apart from can, you may also use you may or stronger advice. If you want to give stronger advice, then you can use these two. You may use you have to or you must. Is that okay? So for structure 4, your own sentence should start with you can or you have to or you must. Okay, and remember, after the modal verbs, you need to use a bare infinitive. Then we go to structure 5. Structure 5 is what we call an imperative. An imperative is like giving orders. So if you use imperatives 祈使句 in giving advice, the advice will be a strong advice. So we use imperative to give stronger advice. Just like have to and must, stronger advice. And for imperatives, remember you need to start with verb plus noun phrase structure. Then the last one, why don't you take them to the community centers? So for this structure, we call it rhetorical questions. 反問句 rhetorical questions. And we also use rhetorical questions to give stronger advice. Okay, so when you write your own sentence, you need to start with why don't you? And then at the end, remember, also a question. Okay? So now it's your turn to write your own sentences. Okay? And you need to write your own sentences based on this context. Now, Form 4 level, you need to know the meaning of context. Context means the situation. Let's have a look at the context or situation. Your friend Brian is not going to further his studies in Hong Kong next year. He cannot decide whether he should continue his studies in mainland China or in a foreign country. You are Chris Wong, a friend of Brian, and what you should do is write a letter of advice to him. And you may persuade. Persuade means lobby. Him to study in either China or a foreign country. When we mention a foreign country, it usually an English speaking destination. For example, Britain, the US, Canada. So they are what we call foreign countries. You may just choose to study in China or in a foreign country. You can't have both. You just have either one. Okay? So remember, once again, based on these contests, to write your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 sentences using the structure given. Okay, understand? If you have problems, you may ask your English teacher. See you in our next lesson. Bye bye.